Hello, everybody, and welcome to Ask the CEO with Avrohom. Today, I'd like to introduce a very special guest. He's the Executive Vice President of North America of Instanda, a company that provides core insurance capabilities through a SaaS-based digital platform that focuses on ease of product creation and dynamic distribution to multiple channels. As part of this discussion, we will share how their partnership with Microsoft, their use of Azure, and the Azure Marketplace have empowered them to scale and grow their business. It is my pleasure to welcome Greg Murphy. Welcome, Greg.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
Oh, it's a pleasure having you. So, Greg, over the past several years, businesses have gone through this process that we call digital transformation. And for those that have been slow to adopt new technology, the crisis of COVID-19 forced their hand, so to speak, in terms of this digital transformation. Mm-hmm. Now, your company, Instanda, serves the insurance industry, which is extremely complex and highly regulated. What are some of the challenges that insurance carriers struggle with as part of their digital transformation experience?
Well, there are, I would say, four things that come to mind on this topic. The first one is really challenging companies to really truly be transformative. I can't tell you the number of times that I've worked with companies that will say they're trying to be transformative, and the executives are very passionate about this and charged up and have really, really great ideas. But when you get right down to exactly what are we going to do, a lot of times we're repaving the cow path, so to speak. We're doing the same things that we've done before, but with just different technologies, right? So really that truly being transformative, I would say, is the number one piece of that. And you have to figure out exactly how do you get into a transformative mindset? How do you think differently? How do you think outside the box? The second one I think of is really using the right metrics. I participated in a lot of transformative projects and initiatives where the exclusive metric was sales. And sales is always an important metric. It's really what needs to come through the transformation, right?
It starts everything.
It starts everything, right? But if that's the only item that you're looking at for transformation, then you oftentimes will leave things on the table. And the reason that I say that is because things like customer retention, customers may be walking away from you because you're not being transformative and you're not even watching that, right? So making sure that you've got the right metrics is really the second thing. The third thing I think it really is budget. Really, and the way I would put this is really getting the budget and keeping the budget. Because being transformative, doing things differently, it takes courage, it takes commitment, it takes what I would call intestinal fortitude, if you will, and it requires investment. And if you invest in something and you keep that budget and you continue to work on the right metrics, then you will be much more successful at that. And then the last thing I would mention really is dealing with legacy technology issues. If you are constantly trying to use your old technology or use what you have laying around in order to be transformative, depending on what you're trying to do, you're going to struggle with that. So I've seen great ideas killed by not thinking outside of the box on technology and trying to use an old mainframe to do something that you're just going to need new digital technology to really get into market.
So you mean that old dusty Windows 2008 server in the back closet just doesn't cut it?
And we all know that they're out there. They're out there all over the place.
Yeah, exactly. I used to work for a contact center sales organization, and one of our slogans was, "You've got to measure it to manage it." And right. Essentially, like you said, you need to have not just metrics, but you've got to have the right metrics in order to be able to steer the ship properly in order to get to where you want to go.
Yes, very true.
So Greg, what can businesses do to overcome some of these challenges?
Well, I think there's a few things. The first thing is really to have really strong leadership and really good talent. I think sometimes people think, what can one person do to really make a difference? And it really, really does make a difference when you have the right leader, the right small group of people that are driving the change. Those people need to be courageous. They need to be in a place where things are safe and they can do things new, right? So I think it's really about that strong leadership and talent. And then I think, you have to have a plan. It's okay if you change that plan over and over again. It's okay if you are iterative with that plan. But I think if you don't have a plan and you don't know what you're trying to do, then you'll just get activity, right? And many
Busy
companies
work.
are guilty of this. At busy work, right? Many companies are guilty of this, where it's, they'll throw up a transformation effort, or they'll put an innovation office in place, and then tons of ideas and tons of really interesting activity happens. But at the end of the day, really the needle has not moved. I think, again, back to the whole metrics thing, make sure that you're using the right metrics. And then the last thing I would mention is really business strategy first before you start throwing technology at it. A lot of really, yeah, it's a big one, because a lot of really, really interesting ideas happen on the whiteboard before you start thinking through what you either can or can't do with the technology that's out there. And so I always encourage companies to really, really get at the whiteboard, think through the business side of it. In fact, leave IT out of the room for the first couple of sessions, right? And then really try to wrestle to the ground exactly what the business side of this before you start throwing technology at it.
Yeah, excellent point. Don't implement technology for technology's sake just because it's the latest cool thing that's out there, but really leverage technology as a tool to accomplish your goals.
Right. And that sounds simple.
Yeah.
And we all know we should do it, but the number of times that we've all been in situations where we're letting the technology or the application or something really drive us around, we've all experienced it, and it's out there.
So, Greg, Instanda recently launched a new offering on a Microsoft Azure Marketplace called Instanda, named after the company. Tell us about it and how it addresses some of the challenges we just discussed.
Well, the Instanda offering really is very exciting to the insurance industry, and there are a few things I'd like to share about how to think about this, how this offering can really help in these ways. So Instanda really starts with the customer first. You start literally by mapping out exactly what the customer journey is going to look like, and you develop dynamically with the application how the process is going to work. And out of that flows underwriting rules and questions, and by the time you're done with your mapping and your questions, your underwriting exercise, you actually have a product built within the application. So it really is a very interactive tool to build out a product using the customer experience. The second thing is really speed to market. Speed to market is our number one business outcome. It's our number one slogan that we have. And the insurance organizations are really, they're sort of trained, and we as an industry are sort of trained that if you're going to put a new product out, it's going to take you 9 months. It's going to take you 12 months, sometimes 18 months, because we know there's a lot of regulation. We know there's a lot of things that need to be done in order to do it. But taking a different mindset to be able to kind of test and learn and put things out in the marketplace and make changes quickly, that's what our application really helps to do. And it's really where we excel. The third thing I would mention is really the price is really aligned to the success of any individual customer. The way our pricing model works, if you are successful, we are successful, and vice versa, right? So it's very much aligned with that. And the last thing I would mention is really Instanda does not add to tech debt. Tech debt is a huge problem out there. We all know that the average organization spends 70% of their IT budget on really keeping the lights on and current applications and keeping things fresh, right? And so we are not adding to that tech debt. We are a completely SaaS-based platform, and we are not going to be asking you to spin up new servers just to put us within your company. And so that's really how we address some of those major issues.
Yeah, I mean, I could see this being very transformative, especially for small businesses that are very lean, yet need to deal with some of the regulatory requirements that insurance companies need to deal with. What I'm hearing, what's really great about this offering is that it offers that agility while yet adhering to the regulatory requirements and the cost model as well.
That's correct. That's correct.
Great. Well, how would a company use your solution with Azure?
Well, really, our solution is built on Azure, right? So if you're an Azure customer, it's a very natural fit to be able to look at the extending capabilities that you can use with Azure and just begin to consume the logic within our applications. So it's just a very natural fit. It's also easy to add complementary capabilities within the Microsoft ecosystem. So for example, using logic apps to complement the capabilities that we have within our applications, this is something that happens quite frequently. And Power BI. Power BI is a natural extension because we're on Azure, because our database is very accessible through the Azure platform. Using those extended Microsoft capabilities just comes naturally. The other thing I would mention is you can purchase the Instanda application directly from the marketplace. So as you're thinking through your Microsoft contract and you're thinking through all those additional capabilities that you have with Microsoft, that can be part of your thought process as you think about the Microsoft spend. And Instanda is available right on your Azure Marketplace. A few clicks and you can be on the platform.
That's really great the way it's integrated. So how can customers find out more about Instanda and procure it through the Azure Marketplace?
Well, the easy way is just to go directly to the Azure Marketplace. If you go to the Azure Marketplace and you search for Instanda, there's a page that you can read all about Instanda. There's a button you can click right there that basically says access our platform now, and you can be using Instanda just within about 24 hours.
Wonderful. So let's focus just a little bit on your partnership with Microsoft. How has partnering with Microsoft helped Instanda scale and grow your business?
Well, the relationship we have with Microsoft is actually quite exciting because Microsoft actually is a great partner to its partners. We have spent a fair amount of time getting our application available on the marketplace, and through that process have been able to access a lot of the capabilities that are within Microsoft. In fact, within 48 hours after us getting our application on the Microsoft Marketplace, we actually had our first customer.
Wow, that's incredible.
We also expect our relationship with Microsoft to grow just because the way that the partner ecosystem is designed with Microsoft, we take advantage directly of a number of different capabilities within Microsoft. For example, not only being available on the Azure Marketplace, but the Microsoft PR team and their ability to connect us with PR opportunities, as well as the sales teams. Really, the way that Microsoft actually goes to market within the enterprises within the US, especially, Instanda can just be part of that planning process directly with everything else that Microsoft provides to companies, whether it's Azure, whether it's Office 365, whether it's Power BI, any of the other capabilities. Instanda can all be right in the middle of that discussion.
That's great. Greg, how do people connect with you?
Well, the easy way is just directly on our website. Instanda.com/US is the website. Also on LinkedIn. LinkedIn, we have presentations and videos available, so it's very, very easy to reach out to us on LinkedIn. We're also active in a lot of upcoming conferences. They're all posted on our LinkedIn page. And we're looking forward, hopefully, after our post-COVID days, hopefully looking forward to the bigger conferences like ITC and Dig In.
Wonderful. Greg, do you have any parting words of wisdom that you'd like to share with the audience?
As I mentioned before, I mean, I think the insurance industry's Achilles heel is that we've always had a very long time to do things, and we've had a lot of cash laying around, right? So, in fact, a friend of mine used to say, when we would ask the question, why are insurance systems so big and so complicated? And the answer to that question was oftentimes, well, because we can make them that way, right? So I think the Achilles heel of our industry is we love to make things super complicated, and we've kind of talked ourselves into the fact that things just really, really need to take a long time. And so I would challenge those insurance executives and those of you out there that are considering really truly being transformative. I would challenge you to think about doing things in smaller bites, using this transformative technology to prove things. If you have an idea, put it up in 4 to 6 weeks, get it into the marketplace, see if it's worth it or not. If it's not, take it down, make changes to it, and put it up again. Those transformative cycles in our industry are truly going to make the changes. We kind of in this industry think we have to have it all figured out, it has to be all buttoned up before we actually give it to our customers. And the reality is it doesn't need to be like that. And if you look at those truly transformative companies that are out there, they're doing this. They're getting out to the marketplace. They're putting things out there. They're making changes, and you may notice that what they put out in the marketplace in the first month is different the next month. And so I would challenge my insurance customers and the insurance industry as a whole to really start thinking in that way.
That is wonderful. Greg, thank you so much for sharing your time and your wisdom. I really enjoyed having you on the show.
Thank you.